Malole, Nisa Polivinaka, and warm Pacific greetings to you all. My name is Eteroa, and welcome to Tautai Tech Skills Series, a series where we talk about all topics in tech. Today we're going to talk about version control.
Interesting.
Version control, or its other name, source control, in software is a practice that we use as devs in software to track and manage code. Version control has tools that help manage and support our dev teams. So today we're going to cover one of the most common systems and tools, and that is Git and GitHub.
Yeah!
Now it's important to understand that GitHub and Git are different. So we're going to go down and break through GitHub and Git so that you understand the difference and also how they are together a balancing act, because without one it's not going to work. So let's get into the nitty gritty.
Let's dive into the nitty gritty.
Git is a popular version control system. Highlight that word, system. It is used for tracking code changes, checking who did make the change, but also team collaboration between the dev team. Now, GitHub is the tool that is used in Git. So remember that it is a tool, and GitHub is one of the biggest hosts of code around the world. So they host source code a lot, and it's important that in summary of this, that GitHub is the tool, Git is the system.
How does it work?
How it works is you'll have a working directory, or this is where your code is based in your laptop. Once you've added your work, which is the git add HTML, or added your writing, you will then put it in a staging area. Now this staging area is where you're going to lift your work and be like, hey, I'm ready to save my work. But you haven't saved it yet, so remember that. So you've lifted it up and said, okay, I'm here to save the work. When you get into git commit, commit is where you start to save your work. Now that is where git commit is. So remember, when you get started, you have your code and you're about to save your work, because you're gonna go off, have a break, have a cuppa, and you're gonna come back, but you want your work saved. So when you go git commit, you're saving the work that you're doing so that if anything happens, something breaks, or if you go somewhere, when you come back, it is already ready for you to come back to. So that is git commit.
Next, what's next?
Commits. So commits, as you can see in the diagram, is that you can save many things in one working sheet or in your code. So you can have 5 or 10 commits. But what the commits does is it actually keeps a track of all the work that you've done. Because let's say you go off for 3 months and you come back, you can actually refer back to your commits and see the work that has been done so that you can pick it up. Or if another developer picks up your work, they can see the history of commits and can then work from there. And it's a handy tool and very good practice as a developer.
Another one?
Now we're going to do git push. Now we've already gone through this whole process of the working directory, your code you're about to save, and the many commits. So now we've come to a point where you've done everything you've done, you've completed the work, it's ready now to put it into the working directory. Now, how we do that is once you've had all your commits sorted, we can then push all your work into GitHub. Now, as you can see below, there's Bitbucket, AWC Code Commit, and GitLab. They are similar and exactly the same tools, but just different names. So what will happen is all that work that you've saved, all the work that you've already committed, is now getting lifted to the tool that is now being stored for you to organize. So remember, it's important to know that your work is aiming to go into the working stream.
Give me an example.
Let's say we have 2 different brothers and sisters in different countries. John's in another country on the other side of the world, and also Sarah as well. So let's say John has done his job and he's going to push it up to the working stream or somewhere where everyone else can have a copy. He's going to put it in GitHub, Bitbucket, or AWS Code Commit. Sarah, let's say it's probably another day or on the same day, Sarah can pull down that working directory that John worked on, and she can see the work that John was working on. Now, something to note. If John hasn't save the changes or committed, or even refresh his work, or while it hasn't been committed, Sarah will not get the changes because the changes can only be found once John has sent that through into the working directory. And that is how get pushing code is done. If we look further in, this is kind of an example. So let's do an example of KFC chicken. The 2 circles in that line over here that you can see, that is the KFC original chicken recipe. It is a book full of different chickens. Now let's say this branch that's overlapping out here is Miss Colonel's recipe, but she doesn't want to put it in the book yet because she needs to make edits. What she does is she takes a copy of that book, makes her own branch with the same stuff, and then start writing her own recipe for the original chicken. Once she's finished, she can commit and save, and then this will push back into this mainstream, which is the KFC booklet. So this is kind of how developers work off. Now, another word for working directory is called master. This is the master branch. Nothing will affect the master branch, but it can actually, because what can happen is you can accidentally push changes in master, and if you do without checking if it works, checking if it's right, it can break the whole system. So it's always important to understand how this works so you don't break the system. Here's an example of what the flow looks like in industry. It gets more advanced as it go, but really this tool supports all developers in trying to maintain their work, but also for them to have that collaboration so that we can work in different times, different countries, and still solve the same problem. So this is kind of the branching diagram of how things work in industry.
All finished.
Version control is a skill that not many know about, but only devs or those that are within the technical field. But it's important to learn so that you understand how tech is actually stored or even collaborated within teams in tech. This itself will actually give you more knowledge of how actual technical teams work so that you could actually get involved within leading those teams, or also trying to learn about how devs work within producing their own code. So, thank you for joining me about learning about version control. If you like this video, feel free to give us a like, or if you have any questions, give us a comment below in the comment section and we'll try our best to get back to you soon. So until then, tō whā soifua, ma ia manuia.